afternoon, everybody. This is Robin Ayub from the Localization Fireside chat. And thank you for joining me for another conversation on our podcast. Much appreciated. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and supporting our channel. We really appreciate it. Today, I have the honor and the pleasure to be joined by an old colleague of mine I haven't seen for many years, Ed Varela. Thank you, Ed, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Ed is the co-founder of Lingolet, and I can't wait to hear about Lingolet. I was on your website, and I saw the devices, I saw the apps that you guys have created for facilitating language communication. This is very fascinating. The audience and myself, we can't wait to hear more about it. Now, before we dig into it, first, welcome to the channel. And anytime you want to come back and tell us more about what you're up to, you're welcome anytime, Ed. So thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. And it's always great to reconnect. You know, it's been a long, long time since we've met. And our industry has changed quite a bit, and I'm going to be very excited to chat about it. So
absolutely. Now, on this channel, this is episode 58, right? So we've interviewed, I can't believe I'm saying that. We've interviewed like almost 58, wow, executives on this channel since we started about a year ago. That's a lot of people that we've conversed with. Right. And one of the initial question I ask in every podcast, which is always fascinating, is how did you start in the localization industry? So there's, I split them into two categories, on purpose and by accident. So,
right.
Can you tell us your story, Ed?
By the way, yeah, I can, and that's a great story. It's always interesting how people do get involved into the industry. So, for me personally, it was accidental. So, meaning I had a group of peers that had invested in a company by the name of Elanix. And I was an early investor in that company, and then as well as an advisory board member at that time. So that was early on. I think it started in 09 or 08 or, not quite 10, because by 10, I joined the company full time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's how I joined. It was a complete, accident and how it happened. And when I saw the industry from an investor's perspective, I realized that there was a massive amount of growth that was going to be happening, within the next, years, as far as, that industry with globalization and the web and all these other things that were happening. So that's what prompted me to get involved a little bit more rather than as on the outskirts as an investor.
So, you very, very good point, but I can't help but ask the question. So people who come in by accident into the industry, but they stick around. And you mentioned that you saw an opportunity, but other industries have the same opportunities too. I mean, a lot of industries they grow more aggressively. They have a lot more potential, name the industry.
Yeah.
What sets this industry in difference for you, apart from you, in terms of this is where I decided to invest from 2008 till today, my future in it, basically.
By the way, great question as well. One of the things that really kind of piqued my interest the most was the globalization that was happening at that time with internet access. So everybody, you could, bring in product, sell product, around the world. And it was one of those things where when you connected the dots, you just thought, there's going to be a need for all of these products to be translated in a bunch of different languages. If you're trying to grow your business and, break into Asia or break into Europe, all of those products that you have to be localized. So in my mind, I thought that's a great opportunity. But then as I dug even deeper, that's when the technology came in. So, as in early at Elanix, it was a translation company, but we had developed a technology that managed the process for all of the project managers. So it was more, we weren't doing any translation AI or anything like that, but it was just process automation. And that was our technology advancement. And that was early. There was not a lot of people were doing it.
Yep.
So it was one of those things. And then that's what really kind of got the hook in me for this is going to be something that's going to be growing for many, many years. So that was an early tech play back then.
So you saw the opportunity, you seized it, and here you are. We're talking about a completely new venture now for you. You obviously continued innovating in the industry, and I remember LNX. To be honest with you, I remember the conversation around automation, which is really intriguing for those who know me. I used to work for a company back in the days early in my career called Genesis.
Yep.
Genesis Labs still around. They do call center application development and a call center automation. And I couldn't help but noticing back in the days, I'm talking like 1996, 1997, we used to write automation programs to automate, how do you handle an email, or how do you do an auto respond to that? And I look around today and I feel like with all the AI and all the advancement in technology, with all the advancement in programming coding, we still don't have any of this, or very limited today in how we handle the, either the customer facing or internal facing for that matter, how we handle communication. But yes, I'd love to hear your comments on this one too, by the way, is that most of the technologies today are centered around the translator. And, I keep saying, like, what happened to the project manager? I mean, you got 19,000 companies in the industry. So what are we doing with the project manager? How come we're not making their life a little easier?
Yeah. And by the way, I agree. And it's one of those things that a lot of the companies have addressed some of those project management issues by automating some of those workflows. But at the same time, you still need somebody running that dashboard, making sure that where the problems are getting solved, and making sure that we get a constant flow of business through the whole pipeline into completion. But yeah, there needs to be, there has been some good development around there. All of the great technology that has been created by all of the the tech companies in that space have been great. So I'm super excited for them, and they've all been seeing great expansion and growth as the technology builds as well.
100%, because technology and automation does not mean you need less people. I mean, I remember visiting a huge automobile factory in Germany, and you walk around part of the tour, and they show you around the factory, and everything is done by robots, but that factory still employed 12,000 people. Like even though the majority of it is done by robots, you still need people to do the programming for the robots and handling many other aspects of quality assurance, etc. So there's a lot of possibilities for people to upskill and upgrade their skills, and and move on in the new tech world.
Yeah, I agree. And that new technology creates new jobs as well, because somebody needs to manage the technology. A lot of the the repetitive things that are happening can be eliminated in some of those things. But then you just train yourself up to manage, and then go into other parts of the business as well. So it's a good proposition all the way around if handled properly.
So let's talk a little bit about your new venture now. You've done a lot since 2008 in the localization industry, and the latest one that you're working on is Lingolet. And for those who are interested in finding out more about Lingolet, you can go to lingolet.com, and you can find out a little bit more about Lingolet. I'll let Ed tell us a little bit about this initiative. And I know you were at the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in January.
Yes.
I'd love to hear your comments on this one. How was it perceived, etc. So.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you, and I'll kind of give a kind of a high level overview, Reader's Digest version, and kind of get to a little bit more concise than I usually am. But at Lingolet, so prior to Lingolet, there was another company called Boost Lingo, which I co-founded with another couple of guys. And there were three of us that were early employees at Boost Lingo that really liked the technology, but thought there was a better opportunity for a user experience that would be a lot more intuitive, user-friendly, and create a better environment using the interpreting services. So we decided that to create a UI that would make accessing live interpreting much easier. So we knew there was an opportunity there. We saw that it was going to be via apps, handheld devices, dedicated devices, a really user-friendly, super intuitive tech platform, via your web. That's how it started. So, and then we started that in 2018, 19. Then COVID hit, so that kind of blocked us off for a couple of years. And then now we're getting our traction and getting back into this. And with AI becoming so prominent now, we are really giving the end users the opportunity to access both AI and live interpreting via a single pane of glass just by simply pushing one or two buttons. So the end user, who would more than likely be maybe a nurse, maybe a receptionist, maybe somebody who wasn't, didn't want to learn the whole platform about, going in and setting the language pairs and putting, a lot of other parameters where they just want to push a button, get that person on there, get the interpreting session going, and
Yep.
then, and then have it recorded and then be done. So we saw that as an opportunity. It's been working out great. And now it's all about scale and so forth.
So, I couldn't help but, there's a lot of conversations going on around access to interpreters and, how interpreters are being used in our society, be it on the medical side, in variety of scenarios, insurance, banking, etc., anywhere, military, whatever it's needed, I guess. Now, just for our audience who are wondering and saying, okay, well, what's the difference between that and over the phone interpretation? So what would you say to that?
Okay, a couple of things. So we do have over the phone interpreting options.
Oh, you do?
As well.
Okay.
We do. So we have AI, which is all over the phone. Then we have over the phone to a live person, and then access to video remote interpreters and actually ASL. So we provide all of those services available from a single pane of glass. And I'd show you the product, but I've been doing demos all morning, so I'm sure you don't want to see it. But it's a really unique experience in the.
Well, I don't mind if you want to put the product on the screen, so for audience to see it, that'd be great.
Quick. It's you push the button, you push a couple buttons, and then an interpreter comes on board. So that way, you don't have to do your set your link. All of the stuff is preset. So you have an admin that presets everything in the back. All of the information and the analytics are gathered in the background as well. So your interpreter, your language pair, your time, your ratings, and this and that. So, but the person that is managing doesn't need to worry about all that. They push a button, and then when it's over, they push stop, and that's the end of the story. They're talking to their patient or the teachers or their parents or whoever and continuing that dialogue. So that's
technology and human are living in perfect harmony in this product, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. We will always have a need for a live interpreter. Now, do we need a live interpreter to give me directions to go to, the pharmacy? No, the AI interpreting can do that as well. So, there becomes a cost-effective use for AI. And then, when you can use your live interpreters. Live interpreters are going to be here. We love them. We need more. There's always work. So it's a great thing. But the AI is used at a specific level for specific things, just to cover things that are like a non-emergency, non-medical, non-legal. When you go to the bank, we don't need a live interpreter on there. You can use AI and have that at the counter, at the teller station, talking to your teller, talking to a third party with a simple device right there. Create great user experience. That user will come back, bring in more money, bring his friends. Great for business growth.
That's right. So where are you now? Where do you're from a vision perspective in terms of what's your view on the maturity of the technology and the future of the technology? So is it like at the are we version 1, version 2? Where are you in the product cycle? I would say.
Okay, so you mean the product cycle for our product or for the industry
and the future innovation and the future innovation?
Okay. So with our development team, our core is based here in Silicon Valley. So we have our development team here who is really focusing on getting the best possible AI that we can put onto our devices and into our platform at all times. The industry and the technology is changing at such a rapid pace that things change, monthly, so to speak. So you'll be able to access, more, faster, better, more accurate, higher volume. All of these things come into play. So our team is developing all of that, and they're always on looking for better things as we go.
Mm-hmm.
We are, as a tech company, are always evolving. So this is our version 2, and we're working on version 2.3, 2.4. We've got other things on the roadmap already that we see coming down the road that we're going to be able to integrate into our infrastructure. But the technology is we're in the beginning of a massive explosion of great technology coming out in the industry. Everybody, people are developing things today right now. I mean, the ones that we know about that are massive are already big. The ones that are coming behind them, like these were 5 years ago, are going to be, it's going to be the Intel's law. What I can't remember his name, but the chip is always better, the faster, better.
That's right.
Better.
That's right. iCore 6, iCore 7, iCore 9. No.
Yeah. But there's some guy. It's what's his name's theory. I can't remember his name, but he was the chief architect at Intel, and it was always better, faster. Every version was bigger, faster. So
that's right.
But yeah,
that's
so that's it.
Now, if I was to ask you, like, who is your market? And obviously, you've got your direct to consumer. That's one. But what about the opportunity of working with LSPs? How's that working out for you?
Yeah, that's great. So working with LSPs, those are ideal customers of ours. We've got, not only are they ideal, if they have their own interpreting base and interpreters, they can integrate their interpreters onto our platform and then use that, and then use all of our AI functionality to present that to their customers. So, they don't need to go out and build a big tech stack for AI. We already have that. They'll just, they can just use ours and still maintain and use their own interpreting pool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And is that like some sort of a white labeling arrangement, or how does that work?
That's exactly what it is. Okay. So that's exactly what it is. So we're yeah.
Fascinating stuff there, Ed. I did during COVID, I did and we're having a coffee chat here. It's a non-scripted call as there always are on my podcast. So I did a product demo. Somebody from Alberta in Canada showed it to me like on a video call like this one. And it was something similar to what you have, but this one has mobility attached to it. So they took the tablet, they put it on a pod, and the pod has wheels on it, and you can literally control it from your keyboard. And then when you're let's say somebody needs interpretation, the pod will exit the station, whatever the station is, the nurse station, the room that's in, and it goes through the hallway, and you're guiding it. There's cameras up, there's cameras down. You're driving it through the hallways of the place, and it goes and it does what it's supposed to do. I thought, this is fascinating. A bit overkill, but it's fascinating.
Robin, there's a use case for that, and that is also on our roadmap. So with our device, you can put our device on anything. A small robot like that already has the schematics inside for a hospital floor plan. They'll be able to maneuver around. Hey, I need an interpreter in room C3. Bingo. That little robot goes over there, and then, you push the little button on the screen, and there you have it.
That's right.
Prisons, jails, all of it. There's a big, it's a big, it's a thing.
And you know what?
It's coming.
It's coming. Now, I know like there's the technology is like really maturing on the, like take the Roomba example, for instance, the vacuum cleaner, right? So there's a lot of technology. It's off the shelf now. And you don't have to invent too many. Yep. And especially when it comes to power management for those robots, it goes back into its station, it plugs itself in, it recharges, and off you go.
Yeah. That's it. So there's a market for that, and it's coming. But it's one of those things where the early adopters are going to, plow the way for everybody else, because they're going to hit all the little speed bumps along the way. There's going to be challenges. There always are.
That's right.
But at one point, we're going to see them everywhere. So it's exciting.
So Ed, also, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, and just to get your opinion on it. There's a lot of opinions on the matter. Is how is AI impacting the language industry? And you mentioned a little earlier about the programs and products that are coming out and the acceleration of the development of these products. Right. I think it's partly because the cycle for developing programs now, the business cycle to develop programs, or I'm talking about computer programs, is much shorter than it was. It used to take 6 months, a year to produce something. Now, like within a couple of weeks, you can put something out. Yeah. In general, like from 100,000 foot level, where do you think AI is going to go or impact the language industry?
Great question. For me personally, I think AI is in its infancy in terms for the language services industry. But by the way, we knew AI was coming 10 years ago. Okay, so we knew it was coming, but we were just trying to race the clock to see how much more we could get from the operations that we had before we invested more money into a new platform, a new technology, and things like that. But with all of the publicity with ChatGPT, Claude, all the AI, everything, it accelerated that like nobody's business. Just like COVID accelerated all the, VRI, all the work from home, all the remote working. So this is accelerating it 10x, 20x. It's going fast. So how it's going to impact us is if we are going to harness this to be more productive and to have better options, we will be on the cusp of writing something that's going to be going on up and to the right.
That's right.
If we have the idea that it's taking our jobs, then we have a problem. Of course. You need to really kind of do an analysis and say, why, how can I make this help me?
That's right.
I'm afraid it's going to take my job.
Yeah.
So, that is kind of where we are. But I think the interpreting is going to get much better. We're going to get more accurate. We're going to get quicker. We're going to have seamless. It's going to be real time. We're already there. So we have that. We are very close to already being there. But now having that and then having us be able to access, real time translation on the fly, if you use unedited translation, that's fine for some things, but you got to have a PE or something else if you need it for customer facing, end user facing. If you're sending out internal memos, unedited, translation is fine. So there's going to be some little issues, but they're going to get the gist. They're going to get the message.
That's right.
But it's not for every purpose. Just like AI interpreting and a live interpreter. But
Ed, you bring me a very good point when you mentioned we saw AIs coming, as an industry. You bring a very good point because I've seen it. I don't know if I told you, but I used to work in the telecom industry, right? So in the telecom industry, we saw the train coming, but telecom industry didn't do anything about it, and ended up, you saw what happened with everybody buying everybody, and only the big ones survived. Basically, the SBC and the AT&T and et cetera. I don't think there's SBC anymore. It's in your neck of the wood. And so for us as an industry on the localization, that's why I'm so excited about the conversation that we're having right now, is because you're the epitome of, I've been screaming for this. We need innovation from within the industry. Yes. We don't want innovation to be imposed on us from outside the industry. Yeah. From outside the industry is costly. And generally when it comes to us from the outside, it has to impact us in a way, not because anybody wants to be malicious about it. No, just because they don't understand our industry the way we understand it. Yeah. Just from the outside in.
Yeah. Well, it takes to be able to convert all that into what we're doing, with like language nuances and, the intent and, compassion, things like that. A lot of those things don't take those things into account, when they're building and developing those things. So, but now they are. So some of these things are actually, predictive text with intent. With these things that can, make a great you know, rewrite this so it's a marketing piece, or
That's right.
rewrite this so it's a statistical piece, where it becomes very concise or very fluff. So
I'd like to know.
logical thinking.
I'd like to hear the opinion on this. Maybe somebody can comment, or you can comment on it as well. Is that, can human emotion be an algorithm? Can it be a mathematical formula at some point to be transferred into, or translated into, pardon the pun, into
Yeah,
a computer program that analyzes human emotion? And you mentioned marketing. You take marketing is about impacting the emotion of the individual, stirring that feeling
right.
of to buy your product, to whatever you want them to do, you want the end user to do. And if you translate it, the way it's written, sometimes it doesn't do the justice of in the target language for many reasons.
Right.
But if you were to say, well, I'm going to put that into some sort of an automation, fine, but you have to be able to capture that emotion in the target language. And I don't know what you're feeling on, this whole AI translating human emotion in the same impact that it was started in the original language.
Yeah. So, by the way, it's there's there's technology out there that does this, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's still early. So it does, they have hallucinations is what they call them, and they start saying things that don't mean anything and they don't pertain to what this is. So those things happen, and very similar in a clinical sense or statistical sense. You need to have, this guy may have said something that didn't make a lot of sense, but it has to be the way he said it because there's intent there, and he doesn't want that to be misinterpreted in any way. So he may not be the most eloquent of speakers or giving his dialogue or whatever, but the message cannot be deterred from. So, but yeah, so it's going to be an interesting.
I mean, we're just scratching the surface. I mean, I keep hearing about cognitive computing that's coming, which is, that's, at a different level than we're talking about AI right now. Wait till cognitive computing comes around. And then our thoughts are translated automatically into something else.
So that's what I was talking about. That is coming down the road that we know it's coming.
Yeah.
But that'll be here,
That's another train.
Yeah, we've got another train coming our way. And now we need to figure out how we can manage and handle that and use that to become, more productive and better at what we do. We're not, our goal is to, now that we have AI and tech and all these things, our productivity should go up. So we should be able to do more. So it should be able to, we don't want to cut our margin.
That's what started the whole thing, is that whole bottleneck in our industry. We don't have enough translators. We don't. Content is growing at 30, 40% a year. If you want to go back to the old fashioned way of doing it over a typewriter, well, you're slowing down commerce. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's you're right. So it's one of those things where we should be able to do more faster, more accurate, better, and then but still with humans, by the way.
That's right.
So just the tech just helps us along the way.
Now, I want to mention something like going back to the Lingolet subject. A couple of topics that came up, and I've done a podcast on it, is American Sign Language. So does your technology now with VRI, et cetera, allow for American Sign Language to be supported in this case?
Absolutely. That's 100%. So
because we talk about every language, and it's not fair not to cover ASL. We have to cover ASL. So,
by the way, ASL is a massive market. ASL is in itself is a great vertical. There's not a lot of ASL interpreters are rare. I think they're even unionized, where they're demanding a minimum amount of payment per hour, and it's it would be and it would be not fair to just as a matter of fact, just to be compliant, I think we have to have something on there to have so they have access like ADA and all those other things, and so yeah, we do have it. We have it available on our platform. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, talk to me a little bit about. There's a lot of talks now in every technology about cybersecurity, sensitivity of information, confidential information, personal information. With the proliferation of technology, and specifically when you have hardware, software controlled, etc. How do you handle all this? I'm sure you have like security protocols in place to cover it, but
Yeah.
is that part of the domain as well?
That is part of the domain. And everybody has to have their SOC compliance, HIPAA compliance, GDPR compliance. There's a whole long list of people that, certificates that we have to have. And those
Okay.
are, standard stuff. So, as a company, we have all those. And I think, as an industry, I think we're pretty well covered with that. There's a lot of other things that might be a little bit more dangerous, I should say. Like hackers coming in. I think there's a lot of other things, but for us right now, we're not like big banks where they're at us every minute. But we just have to be compliant for basic information. We don't want to share information knowingly or unknowingly, rather than having it, stolen from us.
And your hardware and your software runs on your network. It doesn't run outside of your network. Am I correct? And you're selling the hardware and the service, I'm assuming, right? Service plus hardware.
Service plus hardware, yes. Yep.
Okay. So if I was a customer interested in, exploring Lingolet opportunity, I'll be looking at, a bunch of devices plus the supporting services to enable the interpreters to come in and help me out.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. We've got devices, we have services, we have interpreting, we have translation, we have transcription. The devices are just a delivery device to get for certain situations. We do have web, we have handheld, we have mobile apps, we have web access. We've got every technology that you think you can integrate. If you can get a Wi-Fi signal, we can embed our technology into whatever it is. If it's a refrigerator, toaster, we can integrate our technology right into that.
I'm just having visions in my mind when you said the toaster, with an interpreter show how to do my toast in the morning. It's crazy, but
yeah. So that's
hey,
it.
listen, I mean, there's some of the new appliances. Maybe that's a possibility. I've seen the LED panel or on LCD panel, on a fridge kind of thing. So I'm sure there's apps allowed to it. So
no, I've seen one with TVs on them and everything. So it's there.
That's right. Hey, what's your hope and desire from Lingolet? What's the ultimate goal and objective? You're an investor, you're an entrepreneur, so you must have some immediate short-term, long-term goals. What would that, whatever you can share? I'm not asking for anything confidential.
No, that's fair. And this is a more general thing because we've our core team is very familiar with the industry, with the technology, with the process.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to build and grow our company and make it the best possible experience that not only end users can have, which is designed with a great user-friendly interface, but where admins can really run this easily without having much effort. And we want to build a big, good, high-quality company that allows access to interpreting and translation services via AI, via all the humans that possible that we can hire, and then have that become one of the bigger players in the industry. We're not looking at exits or anything at this point. Right now, we're just concentrating on building
business,
the best possible platform and the best possible business with the best possible partners. So that's our goal.
And your focus market-wise would be what? The U.S. or anywhere in the world? Or what's your focus?
So our short-term, I shouldn't say short-term, 12 to 24, 36 months, we're building out into the U.S. We know there's a market. We already know it's English-based, English to X. Then, with our AI and everything else, then we're going to start going into, Asia, Europe, and other countries where we know that that there's a need for this. There's a need for it to, communicate and to really have a good channel of communication to achieve X. And that X is the goal of either, a medical patient, an education,
Mm.
a farmer out in, somewhere trying
Yep.
in Peru trying to get something. The applications are endless, and we
Yep.
just want to be at the forefront with the best technology available.
Yep. Now, in terms of the say, we've talked a little bit about the technology. We've covered the technology side. How do you handle the interpreter side? Because as we mentioned, both of them are the same service, components of the same service. So is that selected by you? Do you train them? Is there a requirement to become an interpreter for Lingolet? So if you try to drum up some more interpreters to join your network,
Yep.
what would be the
So,
requirement, and how do you drag them in?
that's a great question. As a technology company, we're service agnostic. So our platform allows uh, anybody to access their interpreters. So Boost, MLT, Proprio, all of those people can, through their API, put on their interpreters. We
That's
don't
where
hire.
the LSP comes in, right? So
That's where the LSP comes in. That's where they use all of their own technology, their own interpreters, everything like
yep,
that. We're a technology company. We don't have interpreters on here. So
yep,
we allow the platform to host interpreting at every single level, whether you're an LSP with 5 interpreters or if you're a big company with 500 interpreters. You can, through your API, port onto here, use all of our devices, all of our AI, and then have that available for your customer as well. So, yeah, that's
that's
a great
great.
question.
That's absolutely great. So either they can use their own interpreters as a part of their network on the new hard drive, hardware and software, etc., using your technology,
Yep,
Lingolet technology, or I'm assuming if a consumer, be it a hospital, etc., they have access to both interpreters and hardware.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
great. Now, just I guess I like to ask a question because most people like I consider you a serial entrepreneur, to be honest, because I've seen you in a variety of investment, etc. As we were talking earlier, I've met
Yep.
you, 2015, I think. I want to make sure that I ask the question. So, your personal journey through all this, you must be like a resilient individual galore to be able to handle all this. Investment. I mean, I'm trying to buy some, investment stock from my 401k here. We call it RSP in Canada. I get my heart palpitate and I go through the roof. How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you, Robin, I've known you a long time and I've, started this early. It's for me, it's a passion. Uh, I enjoy the startup environment, the building of companies and kind of, trying to uh, achieve certain goals. So, when I invest, I usually participate to make sure that we're all going in the same direction on the same page. So it's a great experience. It keeps it's a very interesting position because you do so many things.
Yep.
From every aspect of the C level to the project management level to every level. So
Yep.
you wear many hats, and it's not for the faint of heart. Man, there's a lot of By the way, not all of these are successful, but the ones that have been successful have been awesome. So
Yep.
we're
That's
we're
right.
we're we're ahead of the game there. So
Yep.
we're just now we're playing with house money, so to speak. But it's all fun right now. Not it's still a lot of hard work, but I really enjoy the industry. I like the people. I have a lot of great friends like you,
Thank
all
you.
around the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is you can't ask. What's next? Mars? Mars is the only thing that we got going now. We've been all over the world many times. We have friends, you can call in Paris to go have lunch with. You can go to wherever and you'll always know somebody.
That's
It's
right.
fantastic. So
Very
for me,
interconnected.
as a personal journey, it's been very rewarding. I've been
Yep.
really enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the people I meet, the friends I've made, the companies that I've worked with, the things that I've seen develop right before my eyes, like the technology. This is
Mm.
like this is like fantastic.
Especially in
And
your case, you're developing an appliance. Like you're taking an appliance and you're customizing it specifically to do certain things. I remember years ago, I was involved in just, I'm talking like in the early 90s. We're talking about like home alert systems. This is before the Amber Alert or any of that came out. And a few engineers and I, working for a telecom company, we developed something called reverse 911. And now, instead of the 911, you call 911, 911 will alert you. I mean, early in the 90s, it was completely unheard of. I mean, why would anybody alert you on anything? You alert us if you need us, kind of thing, from a safety perspective. So we had to create this device which plugs into a telephone jack in a house. And I remember going through the problems with the manufacturer, pulling it together and, making sure that it has the right, the right components in it. It has the right features and functionalities that we want to do. And now that we've done the prototyping, oh my God, you go from prototyping to mass manufacturing. It's crazy. You must have a lot of experience in doing that, or somebody works for you that does it. I don't know, but
no, we did. We do a lot of this. It's hands-on. As you know, in the early stages, everything is done with maybe 5 or 6 people. So we're all deciding, hey, what device do we use? What manufacturer do we use? What platform? What technology? What do we use? Python? Do we use what kind of length? All these things. So we're all into it in our team little sprints and meetings and scrums. Everything comes out. So, but it's great. And then to be able to see it as the end product, and then now our goal is to get in the market and scale and build and drive revenue. Then that's that I'll get that to a certain point, and then I'll let somebody else do that. Then it becomes work.
So how did it go at CES? I forgot to ask you that question. I should ask.
No, CES was great. It was super fantastic. Everyone loved the devices. Everybody loved the displays that we had in our booth. Our technology is great. The teams that we work with, we at that time we were announcing our partnership with a public company by the name of One Meta. So One Meta is a partner of ours as well. So it was a great experience, and we got a lot of response, and we got a lot of interest in us. So, it went well.
And how old is Lingolet? How long have you been at it?
2018, 2019, but we had that COVID 2 years, so we couldn't get a lot of things happening with with people working and developers and getting product from China or from anywhere, and it was kind of we kind of just focused myopically on the tech that we could, knowing that once this was over, we got a lot. We had to re-ramp and do other things. So.
And how many employees or partners you have working for you, and where are you located? Where's your company located?
Okay, so we're based in Santa Clara, California, Silicon Valley. So we have folks all around the world working for us. So obviously a distributed environment. So and there's I think probably between 9 and 12 FTEs, and then we've got developers and people helping with consulting and things like that. So
that's right.
All of those things.
Yeah. And most people like in North America, they do this now, even in the localization industry. It's like by nature is distributed industry anyway, because you probably need that. I mean, of course you are in the United States or in Canada, and your FTEs could be somewhere else in the world. Depends on how you need them, when you need them, and what's the cost benefit analysis to have them in that location or not. So, and I'm assuming from a development perspective, there's a lot of skills and easier accessible in certain countries than they are in North America. I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely, and
something went wrong. Please try again.
Absolutely. And the thing with it that was Siri going, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah, sometimes Google does that to me. Don't worry.
So with that in mind, it's important for us that we had our architecture and development here in the U.S., but we do nearshore some of the coding and things that we can just integrate and edit and proof and then and bring on and use. So,
absolutely. So so as I wrap up this conversation, we're up to about 45 minutes of recording, which I don't want to take too much time of your time, and the same time, I always love to talk to you, and I'd love to have you on for more episodes to come. If you have any other idea of you want to share with the public or you want to share with our industry, just let me know. We just passed 150,000 views on our channel. We were one of the fastest growing channel in the industry right now in terms of the number of subscribers, the number of views that we're seeing. And I love, you're always welcome, Ed. Always
Thank
good
you.
to connect with you after all these years. And hopefully we don't stay like, what is it, 10,
Yeah.
15 years to connect again?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Yeah. Well, Robin, first of all, I'd like to say, first of all, congratulations. I've known you for many years, and I've seen your career really, develop and become super fantastic, and I'm very happy for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so
That
much.
is very, very cool to see. And also with the podcast, keep this up. This keeps everybody engaged in the community with a lot of different aspects of what people's perceptions are and what their visions are. A lot of times, I have my own perception of the industry, which might not match somebody else's, but there's still two good points of reference that we can draw on as the business grows and our industry grows, and and who what we can think of and what we should be aware of. So it helps all of us kind of have a little bit more knowledge about
Absolutely.
what we're doing and what's happening and how we can use that and use that in our own knowledge and things like that. So I think that's great.
Excellent.
Keep it up.
Excellent point. And for our global industry, although we exist in many countries around the world, in all countries around the world, we're not that different. That's what I'm finding out. Every conversation, it's very similar to the other conversation, regardless of where you are, where you come from. We all share the same concern, the same economies, the same objective, the same hopes and desires, every one of us in our industry. And, like this, when I asked you the first question, how did you get in the industry? It doesn't matter what country. I mean, you know my story, right? I mean, it's shortly, like, I'm not going to take too long on this one. I was on a plane going from one place to another. The individual sitting beside me happened to run a translation company. Early 2000, I didn't know what translation was. By the end of a 2-hour flight, I ended up getting a job in an industry I didn't know existed. Existed.
It's crazy.
And here I am 21 years later.
Yeah, it's magic. I love it.
Thank you so much, Ed. And I appreciate it. Thanks for coming online with me today. And thanks for your time. Always good to see you. And for our audience, thank you so much for listening in. I appreciate your time. And if you are new to our channel, like I mentioned earlier, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost that much just to click that subscribe button. And if you like to share or comment on our episode, please do so. And if you have any ideas for future episode, please let me know what they are and we'll try to accommodate them. Thanks so much for everybody. Enjoy your day. And until next time, this is Robin Ayub and Ed Varela signing off.